Okay, so now we're going to go with order and sequence. I'm going to tell you that order and sequence is probably the easiest one. Now that we've learned two, we're going to start getting more and more. Just use process of elimination, okay? So order sequence is exactly what it sounds. It tells the order that something happened or the steps to get something done. All right, so if I told you a timeline, if I was writing a paragraph about myself, about my life, if it sounded like in 1991 I was born, stop with your old jokes. Um, in 1996, I moved to Illinois from St. Louis. In 2009, I graduated high school and went to college. In 2013, I graduated from SIUE and I started teaching. I've been teaching for 5 years ever since. In 2017, I got my master's to be a principal. And now I currently, in 2017, started at a new school at Live for Life. Okay, so you see, I gave you lots of dates. I told you the order that something happened. That would be sequence. But you can also tell how to do something. So if I told you the steps to bake cookies, okay, I don't know how to bake cookies from scratch. So my steps would be: you go buy pre-made cookie dough, you open up the package, read how you preheat the oven, turn the oven on, take the cookie dough out, put it on, break it apart, put it on the pan, and then bake it. Okay? So I'm telling you the steps to make pre-made cookies. Okay? That is sequence. It's how to do something. So, our signal words, looking at question 2 under sequence. Signal words: first, second, next, then, after, before, any dates or times, finally, not long after, now, there are more, during, once. Those are sequence words. Don't let dates and times confuse you. Sometimes there will be, in a compare and contrast, you can say, I was born in 1991, but you were born in 2002. Okay? Just because I put a date doesn't mean it's necessarily sequence. Make sure that it's telling you when things have happened continuously. All right? Not just using a date for information. Okay, so moving on to question 3. This is the visual for sequence. Looks different than description as a timeline. You don't necessarily have to draw the arrow, but some boxes like something I have on question 5, okay? So you put whatever's in the paragraph, you put whatever happens first, next, finally, or the dates in order. All right, moving on. Soccer is a game that has been played for numerous years. In fact, many people believe that it began in England over 800 years ago. About 200 years ago, in the early 1800s, boys in England played a sport like soccer, but they called it football. However, each school made up their own rules. In 1863, a group of players met and wrote official rules for soccer. Soccer started spreading to other countries. In 1904, an international group called FIFA formed to make sure that every team around the world followed the same soccer rules. Today, soccer is one of the most popular sports in the world. All right, looking at question 4, what is the topic of this? I want you to try and figure that out. Write it down, pause the video. And you should have written down soccer as the topic. Okay, I want you to pause the video and try and fill in the visual, so the 4 main events in order. And if you pause the video, you should have had that it started in England 800 years ago. In the early 1800s, they called it football. 1863, soccer rules were written. And then in 1904, a World Soccer Group formed called FIFA. Okay? If you got that, I want to see you patting yourself on the back quietly. If not, I would like you to fix it and figure out where you made the mistake. All right, what makes this paragraph a paragraph about sequence structure? Once again, we're analyzing what in here makes it sequence. Why is it not description? Okay, it's telling us about soccer, right? Yes, but it's not giving us details. It's only telling us how it started, okay? So the first thing is I see dates and I'm looking. Oh, I see more dates. I'm telling me it's telling me something after every date, okay? So, what I would say, what makes this a sequence paragraph is because it's organized in sequence order. It starts with when it first started in the 1800s and tells us what happened there. Then it moves into another big time period, 1863. and then it goes to 1904, and it ends with today. So each of these dates are moving me forward in something about soccer. They're not just dates giving me details. And when I organize this paragraph, it fits nicely into the visual. Okay? All right, moving on. How does a first-time author actually get his or her book published and in a bookstore? It can be a long and difficult process. First, the author needs to give a complete manuscript that publishers can read and review. Second, the author needs to find an agent. Most publishers will only accept manuscripts through an agent. Once an agent agrees to promote a manuscript, they send it to a number of publishing houses. An editor will skim the manuscript and decide whether they are interested. If they like it, they share it to see if others like it too. If the editor decides they want to publish the book, an offer is sent back to the agent to tell the author. If the author accepts, the book begins publishing. During the publishing phase, an editor thoroughly reviews the manuscript. Once the review is completed, the editor sends an editorial letter to the author suggesting changes. After the changes are made, the book is typed up. Finally, the book is printed and sent to stores. Okay, so first I want you to stop and find the 6 signal words. Pause the video. All right, these are the signal words that you should have found. First, second, once, during, once, after, and finally. I know that during and once were not on your notes, but I did say that in the video. Okay, pause the video again, and I would like you to fill out the visual on question 8. There are 10 steps that I gave you. Notice between 5 and 6 there just wasn't enough room, so I had to go to the next line, okay? So I want you to put this into 10 steps. Use the signal words. Pause the video. All right, you should have had that the author writes the manuscript, finds an agent, sends the manuscript to publishers. The editor decides if they like it. If they do, they share it. The editor sends the agent an offer. The agent tells the author of the offer, tongue twister. Publishing phase, the editor reviews the manuscript. Editor suggests content changes. The book is printed, and then it's on shelves at bookstores. That's the final step. If you have that, once again, pat yourself on the back quietly because you're awesome. If not, you're still learning. Go ahead and make changes and figure out where you got confused. Okay, now analyzing. That means we're breaking it down, putting it into pieces. What makes this sequence text structure? Okay? First of all, the signal words. Okay? This topic sentence right here, how does a first-time author actually get his or her book published? This tells me, they may be telling me how to get a book published. Remember, sequence and order means how to do something, okay? So that's my first clue here. So one thing I could write for number 9 is, well, that topic sentence gives me a clue. It's going to tell me how to do something, and I know that sequence tells me how to do something. Something else that you could write is that the signal words. I'm seeing first, second, finally. This signals to me that they're giving me steps in something, okay? So basically for number 9, I wanted you to put that it's telling me how to do something, okay? And I would like you to cite that. So if you write it's telling me how to do something, I would like you to give me evidence. It states first, second, finally, and I'm able to understand how to publish a book, okay? All right, you are awesome. I would like you to turn this into your college box. We're going to keep on to these notes because we're going to keep going over this. We have 3 more to add within the next couple weeks. You will have a quiz over sequence and description Tuesday or Wednesday, whichever class that you have, okay? All right, go ahead and get started on your next sheet that is on my desk. You're going to put your changing of the school or neighborhood ideas into action, okay? Let's have a great class.